Some sports are the sum of the parts as opposed to the individuals. In the case of pairs rowing, that is certainly true. It's our pleasure for the first time in the brief history of our Athletic Hall of Fame to induct a team into the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Ricci and the late Dave Brown.
From the class of 1973, men's rowing teammates, David Brown and Rick Ricci.
David and Rick are cornerstones of this program. The program was less than 10 years old when Dave and Rick arrived. They, along with the head coach at the time, Norm Graff, I think charted a course where they wanted to test themselves against the best rowers in the country. David and Rick won 2 national championships in the pair at the IRA National Championship in both 1972 and 1973, which was an extraordinary accomplishment for them individually and also representing the college. In 1972, they not only won the IRA National Championship, but also finished 5th in the 1972 Olympic trials. They finished 5th in the Olympic trials as undergraduates. The other participants were all seasoned national team members or had been around the national team before. And here come these 2 kids from Hartford, Connecticut, who put themselves amongst the very top cohort of rowers in the nation. Rick and Dave have both had lasting impacts on the program far beyond their graduation. From graduation until he passed, David was a committed and passionate member and leader of the Friends of Trinity Rowing. This boathouse, our fleet of boats, the shell that bears his name, it's a testament to his commitment to Trinity Rowing well beyond his time as an undergraduate. Rick has remained connected to the sport for 50 years. It has been incredible to see how passionately Rick remains engaged in all of his efforts to honor Dave and to help support every student athlete who passes through the boat bay here at the Friends of Trinity Rowing Boathouse. They had a synergy in the boat that produced national championship level speed. But the partnership that they formed went so far beyond the water, both in their actual accolades, but also in their character and in their values. David and Rick helped build everything that we are today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Rick Ricci and Diane Brown.
A rowing accident. So anyway, I'd like to first of all thank Director Galbraith and the committee, Hall of Fame committee, for this incredible honor. It's terrific. I can't even put into words. First of all, being honored and also the first team. That's really hard to get my head around because Trinity's had so many terrific teams. I'm not conversant with Trinity athletic history. I do remember the great squash teams and, of course, the women's lacrosse team. So being the first team to be inducted, I hope, is a harbinger of things to come. And I just can't say it's just a terrific honor. So anyway, during the recuperation period in the last 3 months, I've had a lot of time to think about what I was going to say. And as I walked around Harkness Park trying to rehab my knee. But I wrote some stuff down, but I probably won't read it completely. But one thing that I wanted to do, and having been a coach in college for 50 years and gone to a lot of Hall of Fame inductions, you can't think of how many people I want to thank. But I wanted to thank people that no one knows here anymore. Two people. The first person I like to thank is Max Paulin. He was the admissions officer, and he met me at my high school, Arlington High School, in 1968, and immediately started to recruit me to come to Trinity and never let go. And when I was accepted at West Point, and I came down to look at Trinity, was deciding what to do, and the Trinity crew was off to Henley, and Max Paulin put on a full court press, and so the rest is history. So I wanted to thank Max. He was an incredible guy, and I really, really appreciate him. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Max. The other person or two other people I'd like to thank who are quasi-parents. First of all, I'd like to thank Gloria Graff. She fed Dave and I during the time we trained for the Olympic trials. And believe me, we ate a lot. And Gloria and Norm took us into their home and made us their sons. And that was great. And then, of course, Norm. A lot of people here know me and have heard the stories of my stubbornness with regard to Norm. So Norm and I, for most of our lives, were always at odds with who was going to be more intense. And Gloria said it quite well before she passed away. She said, the reason why you and Norm don't get along is because you're so much the same. And I said, I think you're right. So those are the thank yous amongst hundreds of other people I'd like to thank, but I really wanted to bring those people out tonight because I thought that they were special. Another gentleman who's in the room, and this is more of a professional perspective, Gary Caldwell is here tonight. He graciously came. Gary Caldwell. So when we finished racing at Henley, I got back and I didn't really know what to do because, see, at Trinity, I majored in rowing and minored in philosophy. So when I finally left and Dave was going on to other things, I really didn't know what to do. And Gary called me in the end of September of 1973 and said, "Hey, Rick, did you ever think about possibly coaching?" And I said, "Oh, that's a great idea." And he said, "Well, there's a job at Connecticut College." And so the first person I worked for is also in the audience tonight, Bart Gulong. And Bart, along with Gary, got me going in this profession, which has been just immensely, immensely important to me. And as they say, when you work with undergraduates, it keeps you young. It's totally true. So I'm blessed to have had this career in coaching. I can't even explain to you what it's been like. The people I've met, the people I know, the things I've learned, the students have just been incredible. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate my Trinity education. I just love Trinity. Really. So sometimes I kid around to my wife. I said, I got to win the Powerball so I can get a bunch of money and give it to Trinity. So she says, you got to play first. But yeah, Trinity's been terrific to me. This induction is unbelievable. I just wanted to say, and I've said this in other dedications of Dave's boats, but rowing with Dave was just, there's no words for it. But I think the biggest thing that I think about when I think about Dave was trust. I trusted Dave, and we built that trust over hundreds of hours of training. But Dave was the bow man. He steered the boat. I put my head down. I pulled as hard as I could. I never feared we were going to run into anything. And Dave was just the best. And so the trust I'd like to extend to anyone here who's an undergrad rower is you have to trust your comrades. And the way you build that trust is every day working really hard. So I want to compliment Kevin McDermott and Peter Graves. From what I can see, the Trinity program is off into the 21st century. I'm so proud of you. And please call on me. I'd love to be part of it. Thank you.
That was great, Rick. I'm obviously Diane Brown, and I'm such a fraud to be standing up here because I could easily be described as the least likely person to come through the doors of Trinity to get an athletic award. However, I'm here in Dave's stead to thank the Trinity sports community on behalf of our children, David, Amy, and Pam, and our 10 grandchildren who are here this evening for this award and honor. I would like to thank the Trinity Sports Hall of Fame committee, and I'm sorry to say I don't really know who's on that committee, but thank you. Thank you to Coach Kevin McDermott, Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith, and to President Joanne Berger-Sweeney, and everyone else who had a part in putting this evening together. And congratulations to Rick for this award and for his 45 years of coaching and touching the lives of so many young athletes. Amazing. In my early married life to Dave, I often referred to Rick as Dave's first spouse, and it was totally true. Dave, Rick, and I were at Trinity from September of 1969 until we graduated in 1973. We were in the first class of coeducation, first class with women who matriculated. And at that time, so we just celebrated our 50th reunion, hard to say, but it's true. And of all the women who matriculated in that class, 40% left before graduation 4 years later. And, it wasn't really noticed at the time, but it was also during our freshman year that there was a lot of campus unrest all around the country and here for the Vietnam War. Transitioning from an all-male college to a co-ed one turned out to be more difficult than anybody anticipated. So during those first few years, there was plenty on campus to be to complain about and to be dissatisfied with. Sports allowed a lot of fun in the middle of all this. Dave loved sports. He was very competitive, he and Rick. He was very unassuming, kind to others, but in sports, he was always there to win. He was a varsity athlete in 3 sports, cross-country running in the fall, swimming in the winter. He was the captain of the swim team, and of course, crew in the spring. It was all about camaraderie, working hard, and winning. And that's where he and Rick first intersected, on the water scene. If Dave was on the water, in a boat, anywhere, and somebody else was in a boat, similar, anywhere, it was a race, even if the people in the other boat didn't know it. And I'm pretty sure that Rick was the same way, just from watching them. Personality-wise, they were very different, but winning-wise, they were on the same page. I know that if Dave were here, like Rick just did, he would give a sincere thanks to the people who were instrumental at Trinity in the late 60s and the early 70s for bringing the program forward. And you probably won't know these people, but they deserve to be mentioned. Dr. Norton Downs, Barclay Robinson, John Mason, the Goodwin family, and of course, Coach Norm Graff, and mostly all of his fellow rowers, and the coxswains, Andy Anderson, and all of the people with him on the team who rallied forth on those dark, wet, freezing mornings, sort of like we've just gone through, to find, their way to the other side of the Connecticut River day after day, especially during March break, when all their friends were in Florida sending postcards about how much fun they were having in the sun, to ostensibly be giving a little buoy the spirits of their rower friends who were busy with endless seat racing. So Dave and Rick were very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time with the right people, and they knew it, and they were grateful for the opportunity. They worked hard, they rowed harder, and they built wonderful friendships that have lasted decades. And they also, as you've heard about Rick especially, have worked to pass that love on and the dedication to others. So on behalf of Dave, the family thanks you very much.